Hi, my name is Leah Campbell Badertscher. I'm the owner and founder of Renascence Company Coaching, which can be found at www.leahcb.com. That's leahcb.com. And I'm thrilled to be here today and honored that Renee Burke of Happily Ever After, who is a friend and also one of my awesome clients, asked me to join her in this project that she's launched, the Summer of Me, a calling forth of self-care. I think this is something that is so needed, and I love that she is part of such a wonderful community, the creative community, and nurturing. I'm excited to have an opportunity to speak to you because I think nurturing the creatives, the outright creatives who make that their living and their life's passion, has the opportunity to trickle down and affect a lot of other places in our world. And I often think, as a creative person myself, that it's easy to get overwhelmed by all the possibilities out there and to get really excited and enthused, but then to find that you're running low on fuel. So what I want to share with you today, my proposal for your summer of self-care is to do nothing. That's it. End of vlog. Easy, right? So there is a little bit more to it than that. So ironically enough, doing nothing is one of the hardest things for really industrious, hardworking, creative people, as you may know, because they get there and then they think, now what? Now what am I supposed to do? So I do have a few things to get you started, a few specific tools. But first, I just want to talk to you a little bit about the concept of doing nothing. And before we get there, just to share with you a personal story in my own life. It's been a busy year. I've got a 3-year-old. I have an 18-month-old. I launched a new business not just a little over half a year ago. I've been painting more than ever. I've been writing more than ever. I've been going to poetry workshops, and there's just been a lot of really wonderful things happening in my life in the last few years, and it seems like time just continues to accelerate and my life becomes more full. And so about a month ago, I woke up one morning and was getting ready to take my little boys to the park, and I was just feeling, anxious and stressed. I'd gone for my morning run. I'd had my time for prayer and meditation, and I just wasn't feeling right. So I sat down and I thought, I'll just do a brain dump. I'll make a list of everything that's on my mind and just see what's there and bring it into the light so I can deal with it. So I made that list. I'm like, okay, well, those are all doable things, maybe not today, but manageable. And then I just sat and but it doesn't make me feel better. So I sat for a little bit just to get quiet and think about what do I really want? And what came to me is that I want to do nothing for a while. I just want some downtime. I can't remember the last time that I just sat on the couch or watched a movie, or read a book for fun. I just did nothing productive, nothing for anyone else, nothing even in service or support of one of my passions or my business. So I made another list. What do I really, really want? What am I craving right now that would make this anxious, settled feeling, that I could have some relief from that? And at the top of the list, I wrote downtime. And it was a short list. And so I thought, okay, well, I really do need to make some time to do nothing. But first, I'm going to take my boys to the park. And so out the door and then on with the rest of my day. And I had client calls that afternoon. I had a meeting that afternoon. I squeezed in some painting at the end of the time when I had a babysitter, and then I got the kids and was getting ready to make dinner. My husband came home, and I knew some friends were playing basketball in the park, so I thought, well, this will be my downtime. I'll just run the half mile to the park and play a quick game of pickup basketball, 20-30 minutes, and that'll be great. That'll be fun, and I'll be home in time to make dinner. So I ran down there. Game started. It was a lot of fun. The first 10 minutes. Went for a rebound. Came down. I went to the right. My knee bowed out to the left, and I hit the pavement. And long story short, that was about 4 weeks ago. I tore my ACL. I had surgery last week. I have been on this couch. That's why I'm videotaping this here, is because I can't get off. I can't really walk much right now. So I got my downtime. So I don't think so much that it's a be careful what you ask for sort of thing. I think it was, in a strange sort of way, a favor being done for me, because nothing else would have slowed me down and got my attention as effectively as an injury like this that requires a lot of rest. Not only requires it, but I can't do anything about it. And that has been a great gift. And so that's really what inspired me to share this notion of doing nothing with you. Because it's something I thought I was doing a good job of building into my life. I was making time for meditation. I was making time for prayer and painting and quality time with my family and things I love. But just something in me just wanted to stop for a little bit and rest. And a lot of us are really resistant to that for many different reasons, which getting into that is an entirely different vlog or coaching session. But today, I wanted to share that story with you so that life doesn't intervene on your behalf like it did for me and stop you. I want you to have the opportunity to choose it for yourself first and not have to go through the business of blowing out your knee or some other fun alternative like that. So the other thought that I wanted to share with you, because I think this might resonate with you as artists and creatives, is that to remember that you are the vessel and not the source. And to be not even an adequate, what's the word I'm looking for, to be clear, to allow a source to come through, you have to empty yourself out sometimes. And that means quite literally, you have to leave empty time in your life, empty time on the calendar. I know we're all so overcommitted, overscheduled. You need to clear out the clutter in your life, figuratively, metaphorically, psychically, emotionally, spiritually, so that you can be that vessel, because that's where the greatest art comes from, is that art that's a three-way communication. It's you, it's your medium, and it's God, your soul, the universe, life, whatever prose or poetry words you choose to use. So it's creating space for spirit, it's creating space for breath, for inspiration, which literally means breathing in. It's doing it intentionally. It's doing it with reverence, so that you have that reverence for yourself, that you know you are a sacred vessel, and reverence for the source, that you're here to do that work. Because you can be creative and you can churn stuff out, and that might be sometimes what you do or what we have to, we're humans, it's a very common human experience. But if part of you is longing to make great art, if part of you is like longing to be in that place of flow and experience deeper and more intense aliveness, then you must get out of the way and get things out of the way in your life and make room for that, the triaxial conversation. And so, how do you do that? Well, I have a couple tools. The first is what I like to call the holy no. So you've heard of hell yes, hell no. This is a holy no. Again, approaching your life and yourself with reverence and a sense of the sacred. This I was inspired to create by reading some writing by the poet Mark Nepo, and he was writing how basically the alternative to that hell yes, hell no is a high quality no to the things in life that want your space, that want your time, that want you to commit to them, but it doesn't serve your soul, and it doesn't align with your higher purpose or your truth. And so to be able to say no, I carve out a special space for me. So I actually have a list of things I keep on my refrigerator that I say a holy no to. And it can include checking email, Facebook, social media outside of assigned times, because that just makes me feel fragmented and like I've been on some like cold medicine or something. I feel disoriented and not centered and grounded, and I am also not productive. I say a holy no when to things that don't resonate with me. If someone asks me to do something, and and they're a good friend of mine, and it seems like we just always want to help out, we should just always be yes people, I say no. If it's that, no, I just don't really want to do that. Because there are plenty of other opportunities in life to say yes to things that you love to do and that are your strengths and align with you. Renee's program, for example, I said a holy yes to Renee's program because this is so much a part of what I love and what I love to teach and what I love to practice and learn about in my own life. So this was such a pure, easy, holy yes. So I would make a list of the holy no's, things that take time away from your life and they don't add anything to it. They drain you, they don't energize you, and keep it where you can see it. Something else that I write on there is like eating for distraction, eating mindlessly. Even like if I'm on during my internet time, like, and I'm done, and then I start checking blogs needlessly, and that I just start to feel drained. So I stay away from that. And then when someone asks you to do something, you can then approach it from this place of you're not rejecting them. You're saying yes to yourself. You're coming from a place of you know what's important for you, and you know how special your life is and your time is. And so you just say, no thank you. No thank you. You have to be willing to say yes to yourself first. And that's truly like a fundamental lesson or principle of self-care. And if you're saying yes to yourself, you can feel good about that and not be thinking, oh, but I'm rejecting them. So just remember this. Saying no is not a rejection to someone else. It's saying yes to yourself. So I'll have a pretty little, because pretty always helps, a holy no worksheet on my website. And so you can go to www.leahcb.com and find that. And if you're having trouble downloading it, just shoot me an email, leah@leahcb.com. And the other tool I had for you for being able to do nothing is, if it's really making you feel unsettled, then spend that time sinking into a place of gratitude. Gratitude for the things that you've done that day, but also just gratitude for who you are, and try to get in touch with that without having to do anything. It's like if you think about your best friend or someone else, another beloved person in your life. Think about if you had a party and they didn't come. You would know what was missing, even though you don't know exactly what they would have said at the party, what they would have worn, what their actions would have been. You still would have missed their essence. And it's so easy for us to see that in other people, but sometimes hard to recognize it in ourselves. So if you are having a hard time recognizing those things that are just, they fundamentally come so easily to you, it's like you're a fish and it's the water you swim in, so you take it for granted about yourself. If you're having a hard time knowing what your own essence is, I highly recommend an activity where you make an informal survey. You can do this on Google Documents. You can even make it anonymous and make the question really simple. Just ask people, what are my 3 best qualities? Send it to at least 25 people who know you. And this is a wonder. I just did this not long ago myself, and it was a lovely experience. I highly recommend it for everyone. What I learned from it was that there was a lot of overlap. A lot of people said the same things, and another of my biggest takeaways was that I was like, well, people notice some things about me that that are so easy for me and so natural that that I don't give myself credit for it. And I think that's common with a lot of people, and women in particular, is if something comes easily to us or naturally, then we think, oh yeah, that's no big deal. But it is a big deal. It's you, and it's your place of power, and it's a good place to rest in sometimes. We get so busy with achieving, and that we forget that our achievements are not us. We are something much deeper than that. So do that exercise. And the other fun thing you can then do with it, I'll post my own example on my website so you can see it, is then go to Wordle.com, WORDLE.com, and then type in all the adjectives, the descriptors, the important words that came up in your responses to your survey. Type those into Wordle, and what it does is it creates one of those really fun word clouds or word collages with, they're juxtaposed all over each other, different sizes, and you can play around with color and shape. It's very fun, eye candy and soul candy. And keep that in a place where you can see it when you're doing nothing. And just know that you don't have to do something in order to be someone. I teach a workshop in a class called Keep Calm and Shine On, how to stress less and be more. And part of stressing less sometimes is, saying no to things, decluttering your life. And another part is just to realize that you are not what you do. You are who you are. We are human beings, not human doings, as Deepak Chopra says. And so to be able to rest for a time with who you are, just by right of being alive, and that you bring so many natural gifts into the world, is a wonderful exercise in self-care and doing nothing. And the last tool that I wanted to share with you today requires a little doing first, but it's a metaphor tool that I love and I've found to be very powerful, and especially if you are a kinesthetic and a visual person, you can contemplate the meaning of this for a long time. But anyway, take a drawer in your home, or maybe a shelf, and clear it out for a month. Let it be empty. This is a Japanese tradition, and it's believed that you keep some space empty in your life for what wants to come into it, because if your life is so full, things can't come in. Just like I was saying before, remember that you're the vessel, and not the source. And so you have to leave room for the source to come through. And it can be really powerful to have a physical representation of that in your home, and someplace where you see that every day. And to know that it's okay to have empty space. That's also called clarity. It's okay to have a clearing in your life, and to notice your reactions to that. Do you want to fill it up, and why? And just notice what your reactions are, and question whether more full is really always better, whether more is always better. Oftentimes that just creates more stress. And my closing thoughts on that are just to share with you some thoughts from the poet Mary Oliver. And if you read her poetry, she talks a lot about just wandering through the natural world, and she talks about being amazed by life and just being married to being amazed by life. And in one of her poems, she writes about wandering all day through the woods, and maybe she does, and she says, maybe I do this my whole life, and maybe it doesn't amount to a hill of beans. And that's the risk that we have to take. It can be a scary thing for creative people to not always be doing, but you have to be willing to watch and be open and listening to really have those profound and powerful insights come through. But it is also just being married to a love of life and doing nothing other than just being amazed and loving life is the meaning of life. The most wonderful things in life, when I reflect on it myself, that have ever happened, have always been things that came to me. I have things that I've done that I'm very proud of, but when I think of what I most love and have loved about my life, it's always been things that have just been gifts. The family that I was born into, my husband, even though we've worked on our relationship, it was completely a gift that first time that we met. My children, even the love of the things that I love. I don't have to try to love the things I love, and so just to be able to enjoy that love and rest with that for a while, and trust and allow. And so thank you for sharing your time with me. I hope these thoughts were helpful. If you have any questions or comments, I would love to hear from you. You can reach me at Leah, Leah, at leahcb.com. And best of luck to you. Enjoy your downtime this summer, and take care. Namaste.